Jim, we have a question for the late night drive-thru, and it's from Matt in Detroit. He says, has there ever been any wrestler who was a complete kiss ass when you were helping them in the NWA, WCW, or Smoky Mountain Wrestling who became a complete asshole towards you when you entered the WWF?
God. Well, no, I can't say that anybody. Well, there's that fucking Mike Bucci. He did turn into a power hungry fucking executive when they put him with delusions of grandeur, when they put him in the office up there and he tried to take over OVW from Danny Davis and started calling meetings in Danny's building without informing him and things. But I can't really say that anybody that was at one point really nice to me suddenly became a prick. Either they were always nice to me and stayed that way, or they were always prickish and continued that prickish practice and policy. There's some alliteration for you. So I don't know if I can think of someone that had a big turn.
I guess Jimmy Garvin is the only one I could think of who you were really cool with, and then it completely changed.
Well, but not in the WWF.
Not in the WWF.
But that was yeah. It was just when he became a free bird and he was on them supplements. At 5'10" and 195 to work like one of the Road Warriors. Yes, I was quite disappointed in Jimmy's temperament and demeanor, as Finkel might say. But Jimmy never made it to the WWF until they put him in the Hall of Fame. He put him in the Hall of Fame. He never worked a goddamn day there in his life. But Michael had to have, nevertheless, I shouldn't say that. I don't want Michael to hear that and think I'm mad at him. He conducted me and Bischoff in the table for three very, very nicely and tried to navigate those shark infested waters. So I guess I shouldn't say anything detrimental to Michael that he would be upset about.
Other than that specific way of phrasing the question where it was someone you were good to in the earlier years and then you ran into them at the WWF and they weren't cool with you anymore, are there any other examples of someone who you just ran into and you had heat with them and you had no idea why or what the reason would be?
No, generally it's the opposite. Sometimes people are J.J. Dillon at one point. When I hadn't seen him in several years and then saw him at a fan fest, he's worried I'd have heat with him or he'd have heat with me. I'm like, no, J.J., I love you. I think from when he left the WWF. and of course, Vince spun a completely different story well, Bruce spun it to me and Vince spun it to him. The Artful Dodger. Of why JJ left and whose side I should be on. But once I found out the scoop of the matter, I was in JJ's corner. So I've never really had heat with anybody that I didn't know I had heat with. See, we just keep coming up with the semantics on this question. But no, if I have heat with somebody, chances are I probably know about it. But sometimes people, they're afraid I'm mad at them. And I don't know why they should be afraid that I'd be temperamental or filled with anger and rage.
I know JJ's story is that he was in that meeting where Vince said that because of the financial problems the WWF was having, they had to cut all the executive salaries of the wrestling executives, not necessarily the marketing people and the people outside of the wrestling end of it. And that's when Lord Alfred Hayes quit. And that's when JJ started making his moves because he couldn't take a hit financially at that time, and he went to WCW. What was the story?
But now wait a minute. Hold on now. Also, here's the thing, and I could kind of identify with this because when you move up there, the housing prices in Connecticut to live anywhere near where you work, and I'm talking about near being 30 miles, not fucking down the street. The housing prices are astronomical. You can't hardly find a decent house to rent, especially one that actually has like air conditioning and things like they do in the 20th century. And the real estate prices are ridiculous. And when JJ had gotten up there and based on income that he had also, to buy a house, Vince had given him such a vote of confidence that he had agreed to advance him a pretty large sum of money to buy, I don't know if he paid it all off, but to buy a house and get into it, right? And so now he's got a fucking house And he's stuck there and he gets his money cut by 40% or whatever. Plus, he's still supposed to pay back the goddamn advance on his fucking high priced house. He's like, motherfucker. So that's when he waited until he could sell the house. Because when he sold the fucking house, that's when he said he went in that same day and said, see you later. I got to get fucking out of here while I can. And and for a while, the office was spinning it like JJ had abruptly left with no notice and left owing the company a large sum of money. So you can see they were pretty apart in their fucking stories there.